Welcome back to 7th Grade Mustache. On today's episode, we'll be speaking about the poison pantry. The journey towards radiant health and eating clean foods is like a long migration through dangerous territory. There are shocking revelations around every turn. Casualties will multiply with the passage of time in both the loss of friends to health troubles and dietary ideologies. Before the internet existed, people relied on books and personal experience to educate themselves. But let's take a look at how certain food additives were created and the resulting health problems that exist today. Advancements in food preservation and processing accelerated during World War II. Most of the innovations developed to meet the logistical challenges of feeding troops were adopted by food corporations. Energy bars, juice pouches, and granola bars are the byproduct of these advancements. The U.S. government encouraged the public to plant victory gardens to address the shortage of fresh foods. Yet the production and consumption of processed foods increased because food corporations saw the gold mine in the new exploding middle class that sought out convenience. Economic prosperity and the introduction of supermarkets led to the proliferation of cheap, fast, and anemic foods. Go back in your memory and recall how many times you have been in the kitchen and you saw your grandmother or mother using butter or olive oil to grease a pan before cooking. You may even recall a time when that same woman switched to cooking spray. It may have not been obvious, but there may have been illnesses in your family tied to the use of those cooking sprays.
Do you remember the commercials for Pam? Remember you was a kid and they ran them commercials like crazy. It was Pam, nonstick Pam. And I'm like, what? And you being a kid, you're like, hey, Mom, let's get some Pam. And your mom be like, nah, we don't need that shit. But then later on, they would break down and buy some, but not realizing, that's that seed oil shit that we're all ailing from now.
But see, a lot of those cooking sprays remove the anti-stick coating on a lot of those pans that came out in the 80s and 90s with that non-stick coating spray, which they found out was poisonous.
I found out from one of my professors, it was at Creighton, but I was in high school. He was breaking down, like, he said, we had a problem with my mom and Alzheimer's. And this will resonate with you because, we got older parents. He said one of the things they talked about was aluminum pans and pots. Remember that it was a brand of pots and pans that had Club on it, and they were made from aluminum. And he's like, you do realize aluminum leaches in your food. And a lot of people are finding out that aluminum is one of the causes for
Right Guard deodorant is something that everybody was spraying under their arms in the 80s and 90s. And then Muhammad Ali got Parkinson's. And somehow it got around that the excessive amounts of aluminum in aerosol underarm deodorant could lead to Parkinson's disease. And you saw a steep drop in the amount of people using aerosol deodorant.
The other thing that was happening, and people forget, we found out like in 91, 92, male breast cancer. There was a huge number of male breast cancer related to deodorants, antiperspirants. And so, stuff like that. And here's the crazy part. You said the thing with Muhammad Ali, when that shit came out, like those numbers will go down. But fast forward to like, say, 95, 96, the memory was wiped of that stuff. That research was gone. You didn't hear about it anymore. And then you see a resurgence in commercials for those products. It'd be a whole different ad campaigns, and people completely forgot about these stars or these important people that got sick from it. And then it was just like a research. Oh yeah, we need it. Then he used Right Guard. It was like different sprays. Remember they had whole Axe Body Works, whole ad campaigns on MTV. When we were kids. And it's like they forgot. It's like people completely forgot about that, what you're talking about.
Cooking spray is oil in spray form. It contains oil as a lubricant, lecithin as an emulsifier, and a propellant such as food-grade alcohol, nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide, and propane. Propellants are the chemicals used to drive the fluid out of the can. Nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide, propane, N-butane, and isobutane are all commonly used as aerosol propellants. Another problem with cooking sprays is that they contain a few potentially problematic ingredients or additives that aid in the application process. Dimethyl silicone is an anti-foaming agent that is an ingredient in some cooking sprays that is also an ingredient in paint and cosmetics. Soy lecithin is a waste product produced by refining soybean oil and that serves to emulsify cooking oil. It likely contains pesticides and solvents. Genetically modified organisms, GMOs, are common ingredients in cooking sprays. Ingredients from GMO might be linked to digestive disorders, obesity, autism, Alzheimer's disease, depression, Parkinson's disease, liver diseases, and cancer. One of the most dangerous and secretive experiments with human health the world has ever known is currently underway without your consent. It is happening in supermarkets, convenience stores, airports, and in your household. Any place where packaged foods are sold and consumed. It is the widespread contamination of the world food supply with GMOs. GMOs are the result of a laboratory process where the genes are taken from one species and inserted into another in an attempt to obtain a desired trait or characteristic. It goes by many names such as bioengineered, transgenic organisms, and biotech crops. The GMO advocates say their goal is to increase nutritional benefits or increase food production. The main benefits seen by the public have been herbicide tolerance and the ability of a plant to produce its own pesticide.
That's deep. What herbicide are you talking about? I think it's called glyphosate. Have you ever heard of that?
So, children in the Midwest grew up seeing Roundup commercials on TV back in the day.
Man.
Roundup Ready is a trademark for genetically modified crop seeds that are resistant to herbicide. It was developed by Monsanto. Monsanto was recently purchased by Bayer, a German pharmaceutical company that existed during Nazi Germany in World War II.
Do you remember the commercials? They would talk about volunteer yields, and they would talk about increase your crop and all this stuff.
You would see them on Saturday afternoons, anytime there's a football game on or a sporting event, basketball game. Anytime there is a large group of people watching TV at one time, they would have these commercials. Normally, they would be on in afternoons or in the daytime, and then slowly you began to see them in the evening time during primetime television.
When I was a kid, I didn't realize this, but I'm grown now. I did not see those commercials while I traveled. When I was in Memphis with my family or in New York with my grandmother, didn't see them commercials. Even in Cali, I'm trying to think, I may have saw it in Cali when I was visiting my aunt and uncle.
Because they have farms in the middle part of the state.
No. I'm just saying, in states where agriculture it was
big,
major.
That's where you see those commercials.
Yeah. But again, I didn't realize. I'm an adult now, but they would. I would ask my mom, "Oh, what's a volunteer yield?" Well, volunteer yield is when you plant your crop, you harvest it, but then the seeds that fell from that crop cause the crop to go again. I'm like, isn't that a good thing? She said, "Well, farmers don't think it is," and then I'm starting to realize, like, damn. Like, this brainwashing is so thorough that when something good happens.
The crop seeds that are Roundup Ready are soy, corn, canola, sugar beets, cotton, alfalfa, and wheat. Roundup Ready seeds were introduced in 1996, but yet these these pesticide commercials and herbicide commercials were being played on television in the mid to late 80s.
80s, yeah, yep.
This led to the use of glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup. The goal was to have farmers sprayed on their crops without harming the crops. In September 2003, researchers studied 3,400 farm workers in the Midwest. The Journal of Occupational and Environmental Medicine published an article questioning the safety of glyphosate, finding higher rates of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma are associated with glyphosate exposure.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That was almost 22 years ago. In 2018, Dwayne Johnson was awarded $289 million in damages after a jury found that Monsanto's herbicide Roundup contributed to his development of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
One individual, or that was a class action? That was just him by himself?
No, that was just him. This was the first lawsuit that led to a victory for the plaintiff in this type of case. In February 2025, Monsanto, now Bayer, has offered $10.9 billion to settle over 100,000 Roundup weed killer lawsuits.
The first thing you said that glyphosate was developed to protect the crops, but it doesn't say anything about protecting humans or not being dangerous to humans. It was dangerous at one point to crops. That's why they came out with GMOs, because it was negatively affecting them. But it doesn't say anything about people. And people got sick by using it. And when you see these people, they're bald, skin messed up. There's some dastardly shit. we were brainwashed to think that this glyphosate thing wasn't a big deal. Remember DDT? It was a pesticide. Then it was making that bald eagle's eggs too thin. They couldn't reproduce.
So
Yeah, they didn't give a
they
fuck about
were
it.
using a variant of that called paraquat for this federal government anti-drug campaign called Operation Green Merchant, where they would fly helicopters over areas of Northern California where weed was growing, or any other states that had large outdoor guerrilla weed operations. And they would spray this chemical on the weed, and then people would smoke it and it would have adverse effects. Now that I brought cannabis into the conversation, I'm going to use that as an analogy to show you how a downstream effect of spraying something into a crop can have an effect on people. So with cannabis, what gets you high essentially are the trichromes, these crystals that grow on the plant. And you harvest the plant, and you can harvest it as flour, where you can just roll that up and smoke it after it's been dried and cured. Or you can take the flour and you can dry sift it or use ice or water extraction to get hash. But either way, it's the crystal that you're going for. Now then, once you have this hash or this flour, you can take that and you can make a butter extraction, or you can use an oil extraction, or you can use CO2 extraction or butane extraction to get the THC compound out of the plant, which you can then use to make edibles. And you can have all these different types of edibles. You can have edibles you can drink, you can eat, you can take pills, you can have gummies, all these things, right? So then what happens is there are companies that are growing cannabis that have been using harmful pesticides like Eagle 20, which is horrible. And they've been using these, and people have been getting sick. So they've been like edibles recalls, right? So here's an example to show you how downstream this has an effect on people. Now, extrapolate that to food. For example, you have people who have been having issues with their immune system, or back pain, or women who even had epidurals are reacting to these problems because it's the molecule, the genetically modified molecule in glyphosate that was used in the soybean waste byproduct, lecithin, that's used in these sprays, in these non-stick sprays, these cooking sprays, and people are just spraying it on their food, and you're getting this GMO molecule. Even if you want to be an organic, healthy person, and you're using these sprays, you're putting GMO back into your food. You took all this time to prepare this food,
Organic,
and avoid all this nonsense, and then you just throw that out the window by spraying the pan, the cooking pan, with this cooking oil, and you're putting the GMO right back into your food.
The two things, the other thing we grew up on was Crisco. I thought Crisco was just shortening. I thought it was just animal fat. It's not. Crisco is just the opposite. It was designed as an engine lubrication from what, corn seeds and something else. And so I'm thinking Crisco is healthy. Crisco is not. It's the worst thing for you. In fact,
let me interrupt you to tell you this crazy story. So there is a large grocery chain called Kroger, and in the Midwest it's called Baker's, and I think out west it's called Vons. So this company sells birthday cakes, these sheet cakes, and if you read the ingredients for just the frosting, they use Crisco in the frosting. Like a large percent of their icing in the frosting is Crisco. So that's why I tell you, if you have birthdays you want to celebrate, you want to get one of these sheet cakes, find yourself a bakery that does not use Crisco in their frosting. So we had Pettit's Bakery when I was a kid, and those cakes were fire, bro.
Yeah, I used to didn't believe you until I actually, like, somebody took me up there one day. I'm like, this is delicious. But I got another one for you.
What's about Pettit's cake?
Yeah, Pettit's is delicious.
Motherfucker, like, you grew up in my house. You eaten plenty of Pettit's cakes.
I had not until somebody. Like,
if you came to my house for birthdays, you ate Pettit's cakes.
No. Okay, look, we'll discuss it later. But hold it, I got one for you. Dude just went to Buffalo Wild Wings, and on their menu it says that they use beef tallow to fry their wings. Yes, so that's also, he's like, this is dope. He asked the lady, can you bring it out so I can look at it? No. He said, can I go back? No. So she takes a picture of it, I looked this shit up. Black dude online looked this shit up. It's the worst beef tallow because it's beef tallow mixed with uh, seed oil. If it was just beef tallow, it'd be amazing. But look it up. I think it's called Imperial. The company is some like that. But
Yeah, but Imperial makes margarine.
no, hold it. I don't think it's that Imperial. I don't have the name in front of me, so I don't want to embellish. But when you look it up, the beef tallow is mixed with seed oil. That defeats the purpose. The reason we use beef tallow is because we were told not to use it back in the day. But beef tallow makes your fries taste better, and it gives you that cholesterol. Cholesterol feeds your brain. But literally, that seed oil stuff causes inflammation. If you're cooking with seed oils right now, your back and knees are going to hurt. You're going to get headaches.
With the exception of hemp seed oil, I want to give you this correction. Hemp seed oil does not cause inflammation. All the other ones, rapeseed oil. Like, you shouldn't be eating anything that has rape in the name. Rapeseed oil, cottonseed, and like rapeseed oil. Like, I started seeing that when I would get peanut butter, and I would start reading labels for peanut butter and rapeseed oil. I'm like, hold up. This is supposed to be made from fucking peanuts. Why is rapeseed oil in this shit? That stuff is horrible for you.
That's the crazy part. People think grape seed oil is
no. RAPE, rape seed oil.
Okay, what seed is that then?
Exactly. This is not a grape seed.
Because I was going to say, when you look it up, rapeseed oil ain't good for you either. But damn, hold up. What plant is called rape plant? It looks like a big dick. What plant are you talking? Never even heard of this shit.
All you gotta do is go get any famous jar of peanut butter and look at the label. See, this is an important topic because I started reading labels probably like when I was 13, 14. Now, yeah, really, we always read labels. You know what I'm saying? We would always look on the side and be like, man, there's no nutrition in this whatsoever. Red 40, Lake Blue, yellow number 5, and all this shit.
We're trying to make our own shit, though. That's just how your mom was an excellent cook. You always hear me talk about
from scratch.
So when I was a kid, I thought the label told you how to make it. It doesn't. It might tell you a couple of ingredients, peanut, oil, and then all of a sudden that's when you might have you start seeing the chemicals. So I thought it was a recipe because we were kids back in the day. They used to have recipes on the side of the box.
Recipe for poison.
Yeah. But you see that now. But okay, here's another one. When you're talking about down the line, if you do all this shit and you go all natural and everything else, they tell you right now you can't even have oatmeal at all. Oatmeal has the highest concentration of glyphosate of any product. And that's you thinking. We were convinced oatmeal is oats.
Oatmeal is good for you, but GMO oatmeal is not good for you.
No, not at all. There's so much glyphosate on oatmeal that it's sprayed twice. It's sprayed when it's in the field. It's sprayed when it's in storage. And then I think they said it's sprayed again for some crazy shit before. Oatmeal has the highest glyphosate numbers. Now, I'm sure there's some organic oatmeal out there, but you better check that shit yourself. Because they're saying that here's the other part. They were like, why would you spray it again after it's been harvested? There's no chance of nothing growing on it, right? No, that shit destroys glyphosate destroys your gut biome. Correct. That's another one of these things that fucks up your irritable bowel syndrome, leaky gut. All that stuff comes from this glyphosate stuff. And even if you eat everything right, whether you say you're all carnivore, nothing but salmon and red meat or whatever, you'll fuck around, get some of that oatmeal, it will destroy your gut biome. And the thing we learned recently.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. If you're eating grain-fed beef probably has glyphosate on the grain that they're eating.
That's the whole crazy part. Like, even when you go extreme the other way, you'll still encounter this shit if you're not careful and the negative effects of it. And like I said, they said the worst food is, and again, I'm asking, so if this is a herbicide, why would you spray it if it's been harvested? I get you spraying it in the field, then you spray it after it's harvested.
Because they're trying to find a way to make more money. And so it's like pharmaceutical kickbacks. Each time they get somebody to basically prescribe a drug, they get a kickback. It's like, oh, well, we do it twice, you should pay us twice.
Nigga, you got a lifelong customer. Nobody wants to look at the pharmaceutical industry. Going back to Henry Ford and them bastards, when they sat there and they started making pharmaceuticals from oil, petroleum, That was their goal. Then any natural remedy, any natural homeopathic healer was labeled a quack. This is back in the 1920s and 30s. And then you had to be certified from. Here's the crazy part. I don't want to give medical advice, but there are natural remedies for certain diseases that are, we're told, are incurable. I'm not going to say the name. I'm not saying the name on purpose. I'm not stupid, but that's a crazy idea that. When I was a kid, I was told that radiation caused this disease, but then they want to tell me radiation is a cure for this disease. That doesn't add up to me. So it's really important that you recognize that a lot of these ailments are not by accident; they're on purpose, and they're designed to make you have to have health insurance, make you have to go to a doctor or a hospital, or so on and so forth. But I think people think, because this is our rationale saying that, oh, this is by accident, or they didn't know this. Or when you find out most of these studies were done in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, maybe early 60s, and then you realize a lot of this information they had, and again, we talked about this earlier in the podcast, people find out something's dangerous, then it goes away for a little while, then they reuse it again. And then here's how they get you. They try to be logical. Oh, well, the reason these companies do that is because it saves money. How does making you sick save money for that company? That doesn't make any sense to me. Because, and then these lawsuits, they're losing these lawsuits, but they made billions in the process. Prime example, talcum powder, baby powder. It causes women, they knew back in the 50s and 60s that talc caused a certain disease. Ovarian certain disease. And so, but hey, they swept it under the rug, and they continued using it for 50 years, half a decade, before they came out and said, yeah, we knew about it. Sorry, our bad. That's what. So when you sit here and convince yourself that these elements are by accident, that is part of your cognitive dissonance. That's on you, because it can't be happening that much, that often. This many different products are being treated in the same manner that causes this disease. So no, it's not an accident. And the fact that there's a cure, and you're told the cure, if you use that cure, you'll get cyanide poisoning and all this other, that's not by accident. So yeah, stop thinking that that people are poisoning you by accident. That's on you.
So one of the first ingredients that I started to remove from my diet after I stopped eating pork was monosodium glutamate, MSG. And MSG was everywhere. Like, you would see it in every single thing. It's in ketchup. It's in all these different condiments. It's in Chinese food is used in there.
It causes me migraine. Like, I can go to one Chinese restaurant or be cool, or worse, I can go to the same Chinese restaurant depending on who's working that day. I'll get a migraine.
Zero quality control.
But yes,
zero. Yeah, there was like some video I think you sent me, and it was dudes on some back porch, in Georgia, chopping up some mystery meat outside of a Chinese restaurant in the back.
That shit was fresh. Whoever the dog it was fresh.
Yeah, but probably hella gamey though.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
But the problem is that when you go and you start investigating things like MSG was created around the end of the Second World War.
Yes.
And as this food additive to increase the flavor. The problem is that with all this is that when you are shopping at a grocery store and you are eating 80% of your food from the aisles, that's where your sickness is coming from. Most of the time at a grocery store, you should be shopping around the outer edges.
Produce, real meat, even the problem. That was
Fish,
the problem now.
Seafood.
That's the problem now when you got Gates involved with people's foods and appeal and these different stuff. Your food should not have a label on it. You did what I'm saying. We talked about this. Your food should not come with a label. And I remember when I was a kid, the other thing my mom said when it came to meats, my mom was like, you should be able to recognize what part of the cow or whatever that is. My mom was like, you been around animals enough. And I was like, damn. You should, when you look at meat, you should, okay, that's a steak. That comes from the quarter, the hind quarter. That comes from this. That comes from the shank. The ribs, you know where the ribs come from. It come from a rib cage. She said, when you look at meat, you should be able to have some kind of idea where it comes from.
That's some country ass shit, but that's true.
No, Thank you, man. My mom, but no, and when she said it, when you first hear it, certain things your parents say, the first time you hear it, you're like, whatever, because you've been already brainwashed by the schools.
Yes, and you think your parents are idiots and they don't know anything.
Yeah, but then I'm like, yep, that's a chicken breast. That comes from the chicken. That's a thigh. That comes from, it's so it's the same thing with beef and what cut it is. Okay, ooh, that's a T-bone. That comes from you cutting this and that. And so when I heard that, then I'm like, certain times when I look at meat, I don't fuck with it.
But think about this though, because we barely prepare our own food.
Oh yes.
You can get away with stuff like this because if you're a person that is heating up stuff or opening cans to feed your family, then there's a 90% chance that all the things we've discussed will have an effect on you.
So when I was a kid, and I'd be visiting my family in Tennessee, we had snap beans. All they were green beans that just got harvested, and you break the green beans into 3 parts. So that was another thing my mom said. Like when I was a kid growing up, I would have to go make snap beans. Those are green beans, the exact same beans that are in a can. I had to sit there and you snap.
But what you're not speaking to is how there's a huge flavor profile difference.
Oh, that's another conversation.
The difference between those fresh snap beans and something that you got out of a can that's been sitting on the shelf for a year.
Well, how about this? You know, your mom always had an orchard. The thing that I grew was tomatoes. You know, my mom, we grow tomatoes. We get a bunch. Hey, you want some tomatoes? Mom, take fresh tomatoes from your garden. Always had a kind of a fuzzy taste because what's the word I'm looking for? I could tell you can give me a tomato from the store and a tomato from somebody's garden. I knew which was which. You know what I'm saying? You recognize that right away. Some of that is preparation. I get if it's in a can, it's in water. Yeah, it's a little bit softer, whatever. But there are certain flavors that, like, I don't like cooked carrots. I like fresh carrots, and carrots ain't even a real vegetable. I get that, but I'm saying that you can tell something that came from a garden right away. Whether it's the dirt on it, it's washed off. People don't get.
Who told you carrots aren't real?
No, carrots are real, but they were. The patent is owned by some nigga over there in Norway and shit. Dr. Sebi, when you had told me about Dr. Sebi years ago, but then you started watching Dr. Sebi, and he's like, yeah, there's a patent on it, and you don't get that shit. You're like, what? It comes from the ground. It must be real. No, when there's
but you need to understand something about corn though. The corn that you have been eating for 100 years.
I've known this. Yeah, I
did not start off looking like that. They started in Mexico in the Aztec Empire, grafting corn and changing it to be something else. So just because people grafted a vegetable and made it into something else does not make it a bad thing. And then carrots are full of beta carotene, which is excellent for your eyes. So yeah, see, like here's the thing. I listen to a lot of people who are smart, but everything they say I don't agree with.
No, slow down. So let me break this down. There are natural carrots, just like potatoes are actually supposed to be purple. A lot of the foods that we don't realize are hybrids. Same thing with watermelon. Watermelon are completely different.
Dude, have you ever seen any of the root vegetables from South America, from Peru?
Yeah.
They look like some shit from another planet.
But hold on. The point I'm trying to make is that we don't realize. How about this? So I got real deep into the whole patent office thing. And I was patenting some products, and they ask you, is it a cosmetic patent, is it a new patent, or is it a plant patent? And when you look at the plant one, it gets complicated. So a lot of companies have these plant patents that you wouldn't believe that they have on plants and diagram and the GMO stuff. So that GMO stuff is really deep. And you taught me, like I said, about the whole Monsanto thing overseas, how they were suing these little farmers.
And they can't even grow that shit in Europe. Like they can't there's no feminized seeds when it comes to crops. Yeah. There's no none of that fake herbicide, pesticide bullshit. All that shit is outlawed. But
like literally, if you want seeds, you could order. I forgot the term, but you can order seeds from Europe that have no GMO anything on them. I suggest that if you
You can
decide
order them
that
from America that are like that also.
yeah,
There are
it's hard.
heirloom seeds
Heirloom, I can't
that
think of
you
the
can
term. Right.
buy in America. See, you got to understand something real quick. Pump the brakes. First of all, you have entire cultures that do not practice these same farming practices. You have the Amish who save seeds. Mormons have been saving
Yep.
seeds since
For
Brigham Young was
years.
around. Okay? And so, because of this, these people save seeds for famines and rainy days. So, these seed collections exist parallel to what modern agriculture has been doing. So, when I tell you you can buy these heirloom seeds from these alternative cultures, you can.
Hey, me and Roscoe, I was just telling them like, look, I've been like, they want that lemon company to take. There's a lemon company out there that uses nothing but lemons without seeds, and they're petitioning for this and that. Is a husband and wife team. I can't. They're older. They're not even young people. They're older. But what they're doing is they don't want you to be able to grow their product without their permission. Do you understand?
Yeah, but in California, you can grow lemon trees. So, I mean,
Oh
you,
no,
you
no,
can
no.
get lemon seeds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But hear me out. If you in the Midwest where that shit where we normally can't grow that stuff, you you're making your lemonade. You're making your lemon whatever. Seeds are inconvenient. They're not. Same thing with grape. Well, the whole seed thing.
Watermelon.
Yeah, you knew where.
Watermelon.
God damn it! Hold it. You knew where the two things when we were kids. They started with seedless were grapes and motherfucking watermelons. And when you're a kid, it's like, oh, that's convenient. Oh man, it make it easier. No, it doesn't make it easier. Your fast is what. Look, we grew up watching Tom and Jerry. That nigga would eat the
Okay,
watermelon.
but here's the deal with the fake watermelons. Now you have these fake ass watermelons. It's fake food that they're selling out there to people.
Hey, hold it. I had an argument with a friend of ours about this. I didn't realize when it came to the grape seeds and the watermelon, one of the motherfuckers usually, you're gonna laugh, when they first started producing seedless, they used some kind of DNA from a cow or something. It sounds crazy. Look this shit up. I think it was the watermelon. They used some kind of cow DNA or cow DNA on the freaking seeds, so the grapes don't produce seeds. It was crazy. And this is back in the 1950s and 60s where they developed the technology. They were using it in the 70s, then it got kind of big in the 80s. And so I'm thinking, okay, it doesn't have seeds because it's immature or something. I'm like, oh, it's just immature. No, it doesn't have seeds because they've crossed it with some. That's that GMO shit that you don't realize how widespread the shit is.
So,
You understand?
but check it out. So, the fake watermelons in Africa and India, fake watermelons may be created as a novelty item for decorative purposes such as special events or some type of gift. Then fake watermelons can also be done to deceive customers and used to make a profit. And this is done by selling fake watermelons as real ones or by creating fake watermelons that resemble real ones but are made from synthetic materials. In some African cultures, watermelons hold cultural or traditional significance, and fake watermelons may be created as a way to preserve to honor these traditions. Fake ass food. So, fake watermelon was a big thing last summer. You were seeing all these social media videos about people would cut open these watermelons and pierce the skin, and it was just mostly water in there. There was like very little pulp. It was mostly liquid. But you would see these fake watermelons like all over the place. So, and every time, like sometimes you would like cut these watermelons open and like the inside would be so light pink, but not in a way that it's unripe, in a way that looks fake. A good ripe watermelon is a deep red. And it has a smell. That's another thing. Real ripe watermelon has almost like a cotton candy smell. Like it's a borderline cotton candy. It's like a cross between the smell of cotton candy and cranberry juice. Like it's in between there. But when you smell that, you know it's unmistakable. It's very distinct. Yeah, watermelon is one of those things that you've been seeing the fake foods about.
For years, though. But like I said, the way they get you is convenience, and then they get you by commercializing it, like, ad campaign, and then you don't know any better. Then you get hooked on it, or you think, oh, this is a norm. Now I get it. All the stuff I'm reading right here is saying, oh, it's seedless because it's a hybrid, two different forms of watermelon. I get it, but some of that shit they're lying to you about. So I'm trying to look it up right now.
So
I read an article
one
years
thing that
ago.
we talked about on the show episode that we had called Fake Foods is honey laundering. It's the practice of using sugar substitutes in the same bottle labeled as pure honey. The contents of the bottle may look like honey, but instead could be sugar syrup, beet sugar, fructose, sucrose, glucose, or corn syrup. When you're in the grocery store and you're going down, even the outer aisles, they'll put this shit on the outer aisles. I see this, right? On the edge of the store. Like, for example, you see honey in the bread section or near the produce section, like right there where those two come together. And everybody's used to seeing like that bear, that the bottle shaped like a bear. It's that plastic
Yeah,
bottle shaped like a bear.
it's a
That
honey
shit is
bear.
fake. That may have started off as real honey, but that is fake honey. So the honey that you should be buying should come in a glass jar. It should come in a glass jar, and look at the label. On the front label, it'll tell you where in your state that honey comes from. It'll be right there on the front. It's not on the back, it should be on the front. And it'll tell you if it's clover honey or, whatever type of wildflower honey it is. But it's very distinct. There's different flavors of honey, which is very subtle. But you can see it. And here's another key. You can see the honeycomb in the jar. If you see a honeycomb in the jar, oh, you've hit the jackpot. That's some
I,
good stuff.
I'm gonna give you a crazy example of that. When people's ignorance is so complete. I remember I was watching this video about 5, 6 years ago. I sent it to you. This lady she bought a Lipton tea and she saw the little brown dust in there. She saw a little something in there. So she takes it back. She gets mad. So the guy gives her another bottle, and she keeps getting mad because I'm like, do realize that's the tea that's a tea leaf? You dumb fuck. You are looking at a tea leaf, and but that's how I got a little cousin that's the same way. That I was out, we were in Tennessee on our family's property. We were doing something, and I grabbed something, I wipe it off, and I start eating. He's like, "Oh no, you need to wash that off." I'm like, "What am I washing off?" There's no pesticide. There's no like.
But hold on, if it's your land and you tilled that land and
You
grew
know,
that crop,
yes.
then you know what's on there. Now, here's the thing: you can spray organic pesticide on there. There's organic pesticide, like for example, there's one that you can make from milk. You can make a pesticide from milk and rice water, and you combine it together, and it's called lactobacilli. And what that does, you spray lactobacilli on the plants, and it creates this invisible force shield of beneficial bacteria that protects the plant from mold and fungus and bugs that do not like that stuff.
I remember we were in second, third grade, and we learned that they actually use ladybugs. People actually harvest ladybugs and release them on their crops because they kill out the pests. Like that's a job, ladybug harvester. But yeah, there are natural things out there that will protect your plants from insects and other stuff that doesn't cause you to have a third nipple or fuck your kids up. And so that I'm gonna give an example. Like my whole cousin, he's from Cali, so they think if you see a little bit of dirt or something, that's a bad thing. And I'm like, so it's the invisible shit you need to worry about. Like we got pecan trees, so when pecans fall down, you pick up two pecans, crack them together, clean them out, and you eat it right there. You don't go back and wash it. Like I get what you're trying to say. Like if I see a pecan falling in some cow shit, I'm not going to eat that pecan. You know what I'm saying?
It would be psychedelic.
Yeah, but if you see, but that's the whole thing is that they got you so afraid of the dirt that you can see, and that you're throwing on antibacterial on your own hands, not realizing some of that antibacterial shit fucks up your gut biome too. You're putting it on your hands. It's one thing to use it once a week or twice a week, but when you're using that shit constantly, you're fucking up your gut biome. You're fucking up your good bacteria. This shit is happening right under our nose.
What you're saying is not the same thing as walking into a public restroom, taking a piss, and then walking directly out. That is not the same thing.
Yeah, you touch
Washing
that
your
toilet.
hands is not the same thing as not using hand sanitizer.
Look, that's a petri dish you just walked in,
Do
motherfucker.
you
That's how
know?
tight it's on the
Do you
place.
know that what defeated the Russian soldiers in their war in Afghanistan in the late 70s and very early 80s?
I forgot we just talked about this.
What destroyed them was from
Was it
them.
dysentery? They
They,
were filthy.
they were disgusting, and they would take a shit and they would wipe themselves with their hands, and they would just wipe the hand off on something. They wouldn't wash the hand off.
And they would kill people and like wipe it on them or leave it on them and just keep walking and shit. And all kinds of shit grew in these motherfuckers. Like again, the nigga was a walking petri dish, and that's what beat them was dysentery. They fucking died from the shit. It wasn't the fucking guys in the field. It wasn't the
What's so
guerrilla
crazy
warriors.
is that they're out there fighting these dudes that have been living there for thousands of years who are living biblical style, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? They're these people who are living this archaic ass tribal lifestyle that's pretty much the same for thousands of years
Nigga,
are
you
not
flying with
dying
a
from
with a
dysentery.
helicopter. Yeah, you flying with a hind helicopter. You got technology. These niggas on horses still beat your ass.
Right, because you couldn't wash your hands after you wipe your ass.
You nasty motherfucker. Um, Back to what we were the original subject. People, you must understand that this shit's not by accident. When you can
Also, listen,
pick
fake
15
cheese.
different. Oh
Fake
hell,
cheese. Listen, how many times have you bought stacks of cheese in slices, and put it on a sandwich, and then tried to melt that cheese, and
look,
it
you see
didn't melt?
motherfuckers. Well, yes, I was going. Motherfuckers with straight up lighters. That shit don't melt. That shit fire retarded, nigga. That shit is asbestos. That's what the fuck that shit is.
Because that is not food.
It's food like.
And then this lady said some crazy shit to me recently. She's like, if you buy shredded cheese in those packages at the grocery store, that's harmful. And I'm like, okay, elaborate. She said they spray plastic on it
Yeah, they were. Yep, I just saw some
to
similar to
prevent
that.
it from aging. And I'm like, oh boy. So now what you got to do is, if you want cheese,
You
listen,
shred, yes,
you got
shred
to
it yourself.
shred it yourself.
You get the grater and you do a little extra work. Like I said, growing up with your mom, she
Dude,
the two
we had a
the two
cheese grater.
hold it. Everybody's supposed to have one, but what I was going to say is the other thing is your parents were older. My mom is older. They had different taste palettes. Like the stuff they ate
That's a
was
good point.
completely different. They literally, when they would make a sandwich, it was different. And when I say different, I gotta elaborate. It, mustard. They had different types of mustard. Mustard tasted different. It wasn't this damn near candy type. It was
No.
the
It was
flavors
like,
were more vibrant.
what's crazy is like what you got to like name a brand now for people to understand what I'm talking about. Boar's Head mustard. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
like
It's more
French's or
like
whatever.
yellowish brownish,
Yeah,
and it has little grains in it.
I was gonna say you could see the mustard grains. You could see the mustard just kind of ground up in it. Um, Grapefruit Pine had the wine in it. I remember the commercials. So when you have older parents, they cook a lot of the stuff. A lot of the stuff like, oh, this is strong. It's too bitter for me. Not realizing that those different taste profiles, and now that we know, they were different nutrients. They were different. It was completely different. My mom would cook liver like once or twice a month. I hated liver, but she would do liver and onions. The sauce was delicious, but liver's here. But that shit right there made you stronger. Like I didn't understand it. I don't get it. I don't even know how to
Because
cook
it's
liver.
a blood builder.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Because I didn't like the taste, I don't know how to cook it now. But I'm wrong for that. I should have learned how to cook that stuff because it's becoming a lost art. You don't even see liver when you go in the meat section no more.
Because
You know
here's the
why?
thing, though,
Because that
like what you got to seek out sometimes is a butcher,
yeah.
and
Oh,
you got to go
I
to a
we can
butcher
find it.
shop to get certain types of meats.
Yeah, we can find it, but I'm saying that's how
Dude,
fucked up our society
a
is.
couple
We're so
times for the holidays, I have made turducken for my family, and
to
I had to go to a specific type of butcher to get this.
get the duck. but hold it.
No. The turducken. The butcher would take the chicken and take the bones out, put it into a duck that the bones were taken out of, and then he put it into a turkey that had the bones taken out of it, and then put a butcher's net around that. That's what you're paying for there is a skill.
Look, that's some deep shit. But what I'm saying is, my problem is I eat so much for taste. When you eat for taste and not nutrition, you lose. I know that's not what we want to hear. We're so infatuated with the luxury lifestyle that, oh man, they're eating caviar, they're eating this, they're doing. You don't realize that there's a lot of tastes out there that I might not like, but those tastes are what made me strong. And my mom made us eat, liver once or twice a month. That's nasty. Ugh. She'll make meatloaf, yay! But liver was something that, like Roscoe just said, it's a blood builder. It's literally some powerful
pasteurized
stuff.
Milk is probably like one of the biggest propaganda things that have been hammered over our heads since we've been like in kindergarten.
Oh my, okay, that's some deep shit. Because again, when you talk to an older parent, when you were a kid, when they were kids, yeah, their milk was raw, and their milk would separate, and before they drank it, they had to shake it and to get the fat where it was. So what they do, they put that milk in a centrifuge. That's what causes all this heart disease and fucks your heart up. Is when they put that milk in the centrifuge, it busts that fucking fat in there the wrong kind of way. And we don't realize, and then they pasteurize it on top of it, fucking up the wrong bacteria. So the milk as we know it is not how milk was when it comes out of a cow or our parents had it when they were kids. And so in defense of milk, that is a lot of these health issues that come from milk are because it's not the real milk.
What's the name of that dairy, the dairy company that was downtown right there by St. Joseph?
Roberts
Dairy. Yeah.
And also, you got another one called Erickson and Anderson. That's someplace they got good. It's crazy because, like I said, this goes back to processed foods. So I think when people hear the word processed food, they think like sausages. Processed food is any food that's been manipulated, and milk is a processed food now because it's not in its natural form. The reason milk got so big during World War II, one, milk is a very good hydrant. It's better than Gatorade. Regular milk, real milk. Then you got these dairies that got together and they took $10 million and started paying people off to say milk was healthy. It was. That's all bullshit, but that's what happened. Again, Roscoe told you most of these food, attitudes were created during World War II. Cheetos, man, they had a bunch of dry cheese powder they didn't know what to do with. And they invented Cheetos. You don't realize that those products were invented around that time. And they had no use for them. Like, what do we do with this powder?
Dude, they got a whole movie for Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Oh yeah, Mexican dude. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, that shit was a phenomenon, my nigga. Shit. What we're trying to tell you is that when you say somebody pick your poison, you literally are picking your poison when you walk down the goddamn aisle at a grocery store. And because everything is poison, you think that this can't be true, and it's just the opposite. We're not living as long as we could. We're not living as long as we should. We are slowly poisoning ourselves, everything from chewing gum. And like I said, I talked about oatmeal being one of the worst, but cereal is another bad one.
Dude, Gatorade has wood rosin in it.
It was supposed to back in the day.
It did.
Remember when you were breaking down turpentine for me? I'm like, nigga, I ain't gonna take no turpentine. Turpentine was nothing but strong ass tree sap. And it could be used as something that would stop a cold and would heal you.
Yeah, but that's not crazy. Why they were putting that shit in Gatorade, though.
Oh, no. It's probably a preservative or some bullshit. But I'm just saying, when you had broke down some shit to me, like, I didn't know what you were talking about. When you were breaking down how turpentine is supposed to be used and got it, like, just thinking paint thinner. Like, nah, bro, this shit came from trees. That's why it's important to have these discussions, because you got information that I don't have. I got information that you don't have. I think that sometimes there are important conversations we don't have anymore. I just talked about I don't like liver because I didn't like the taste, but liver is probably what made my bones strong. I ain't never had no broken bone until I got older, and I ain't had liver in years. So we run from things we don't like, not realizing that sometimes you got to do a few things you don't like to be stronger, smarter, quicker, faster, whatever, and we get away from that stuff. When your parents cook, you're supposed to be paying attention. I'm telling all you young guys, young girls, pay attention to your parents when they cook. Learn that art. I'm not talking about you need to get a cook to get a man. No, I'm talking about you need to cook for your own health. Same thing when you when you work on your own car, you don't mind driving out of town because you know what your car is capable of doing. It's the same motherfucking thing when you cook. When you're cooking and you know what ingredients are in there, like my wife, like whenever people try to make gumbo, this chick was making gumbo, use whole fucking okra. You just see it look like big green turds floating around in her roux. My wife's like, what the hell is that? That's because that's not how it's supposed to go. You know, that's a family secret, you whatever. But when you know the ingredients, you know what's in there, you know what health benefits, you know what makes you know. So it's important to know what you're putting in your body. Now, on the flip side, one of our homeboys called me when I was on Ozempic and asked me for something. And I'm like, really? You want that? And it with a T. You want Ozempic? Yeah, man, I need some Ozempic. Like, okay, yeah, okay, bro, whatever. So it's when you make the food yourself, you know what's in it, you know the layers, you know what it needs. It's important because we're getting away from that. And it's that luxury lifestyle where you got somebody cooking for you or somebody taking care of you and you don't know what's in it. Be careful. That luxury lifestyle will kill you. It gives you the big C. It gives you irritable bowels. It gives you that stuff. So you got to be careful about that stuff. Your own garden. We've always talked about it. Roscoe at length. Your own garden. I'm telling you that right now. Like when I use a lot of lemons. I'm storing them lemon seeds. I'm
I
going to
think
grow
you're
my
the
own
one now telling me that Pringles is made of so many byproducts and fake shit.
They're not chips. Yeah, they had a lawsuit. I think like Lay's sued them. Say that's why they're called potato crisps. They're not called potato chips. When they first came, when we were kids, they were called potato chips. Then they got sued. Like, hey, yeah, that's not a potato chip. For the record,
That was a real bummer because those motherfuckers are tasty.
Oh man, I was going there.
That's I ain't even about to lie about this bullshit, man. Like those
Pringles
motherfuckers are delicious.
And you had a can to play with when you was done, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, this is a toy. But yeah.
The crazy thing is like that's the same can that tennis balls come out of.
Come in. You knew where I was going.
That should tell you something.
Yeah, look, all we're saying is that, you know...
Which is crazy because, you know, we get mad and argue about the price of food and shit and raise us think about it. And it's like, I want cheap, dangerous food, not expensive, dangerous food.
Yeah, there's a difference. Like I said, and here, the point I'm making is that a lot of our great chefs, a lot of our great cooks, a lot of the people that influence us are passing, and those secrets will be gone forever. My great aunt, she made like a slight cookbook before. My cousin's a piece of shit. So what she did was she took my great aunt's recipes and made a calendar, put a lot of recipes in there, and sold it. Never gave my great aunt no money, but that's another conversation. But those recipes are gone. And I remember my great aunt making lemon meringue pie. I hated meringue, but the lemon was the best lemon I've ever had in my life. The stuff they used to make, and this is lost. Like you watch Martha Stewart, you watch these Emerald with awe because they're making whole careers out of shit that everybody used to do back in the day. That tells you how special what they're doing is, how important food is, how, like, you know, French and Italian and German chefs made some amazing shit. I don't even know we can get the ingredients anymore. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
So crazy though is that, for example, when you go to the grocery store and you go to buy butter is way more expensive than margarine.
That makes no sense. Because butter is easier to make. Butter is real. Margarine was invented by fucking Napoleon years ago, and they had real back then. Now it's some homogenated bullshit with seed oils and God damn, they stick seed oils and everything. It's just crazy. And then
eggs. The price of eggs is so everything dairy right now is so fucking high, and I'm like, oh. The fix is
okay.
In.
I'm in the Midwest. Eggs ain't that high where I am.
Shit, how much are some eggs?
Like $3.20 at the worst. Normally they're $1.60 something.
Yeah. You hear what you just said? That's twice the amount.
Hold it. But I'm seeing these videos where motherfuckers are paying $6 and $7 for the motherfuckers. Then they're bitching them on how much cheaper they are in Mexico. Then they're bitching them on how much easier it is to eat in China. And I'm like,
Yeah, but hold on. We've already had an entire episode called Fake Foods. We talk about in China with all the melamine contamination
Oh my
in
God.
eggs and fucking rice and fucking milk and fake rice. Get the fuck out of here. People talk about
Hold on.
China, man, fuck China. Fuck
Oh,
that
slow down.
place.
This is the problem when everybody is a fucking camera crew. When you can walk around and you got a camera and you got YouTube and you can say a few words. Now, one dude was breaking it down. He's like, yeah, he went to like 3 different countries. He's showing like, okay, eggs cost this here, eggs cost. But the bottom line is this: be careful of this. Woe is me bullshit that everybody's better than us. Or they got this, they got that.
Because you don't travel overseas, motherfucker.
I was about to say.
Most of the people that are saying that shit don't travel. Now, I want to say this, though. Produce in Europe and Africa and Latin America is way better because it hasn't been fucked with. It's not the same. It's just a night and day difference. Now, I will say that. Everything else, as far as like quality of living, shitholes.
Slow down. Let's go back to eggs. So in Mexico, eggs can stay on the shelf for a month and a half.
Because they don't refrigerate them.
Hold on, I'm not there yet. They don't refrigerate them, but why? What is the difference between American eggs and Mexican eggs? We wash our eggs. By washing it, you literally remove that coating that the chicken puts on there, and they don't last as long. That's literally what's happening. So what I don't know if it's better or different. Well, I can't comment on that. But if you've ever collected eggs from a chicken, there's a coating that chickens it got blood and everything on it, so you got to wash the motherfuckers off. But in Mexico, they quick wash them so that there's nothing on them, but they don't wash them to where that shit is removed that we see. Hence why they're so white and all this other bullshit. So is that better, different? I don't know. But and we're so worried about salmonella. If you know anything about chickens now, they realize that the salmonella is formed when the egg is formed. Salmonella is actually on the inside of the shell. You can't wash off salmonella. It's not what you guys think. So, it's so much deeper than you guys realize. Is it better? I don't know if it's better. Do your research. But if this world is coming to the shit they're talking about, I'm telling y'all niggas, go buy you 10 chickens. You got fresh meat, you got the eggs. And then what happened is we're so far away from the farm now, we don't know what's normal, what's good, what's bad, what's healthy, what's unhealthy. And that's what Roscoe was saying, that we're so detached, we're so far from the source. Not just the sourcing, we don't know what's good and bad. If you stick a package or something in a label, you think that you found some shit, not necessarily. So it's really important to get back to the roots and find, and learn what's good, what's healthy, what's normal. We don't know what normal is anymore because we've been so abnormal for so fucking long.
It's crazy, man, that all this stuff is happening to food and it's poisoning people. And these are experiments that are being done and they're not saying shit about it. It's like, all right, we'll let this go so we can make billions of dollars and then we'll pay some of that back when people start complaining and people start dying.
Yeah. If enough people die, we'll pull it off the shelf for 5 years and bring it back later. Call it something else. Put it in a package.
Here's a question. What the fuck was the McRib?
Oh, okay. McRib is pork. But do you know why the McRib would leave and come back?
Why?
Pork prices. Pork bellies go up and down.
Right, so when it was low, McDonald's would buy a whole ton of it and then freeze it.
Chop it up and make the McRib. But that was the whole... McRib really is pork. But
then when you see what chicken nuggets are made out of, that pink fucking paste, you're like, whoa, this is some poisonous shit.
But let's go back to the 80s when this shit started. They were using beef tallow on the fries. Back when we were kids, the food was still fucking real.
But that's why McDonald's fries had that taste, though. That's why they hit different than everybody else.
Look, so I bought some beef tallow and I made some fries, and
that shit was snapping.
Yes, it's not an aftertaste. It's flavor all the way through. You did.
Okay, but there's this racist ass restaurant chain called Chick-fil-A, and these motherfuckers fry their chicken in peanut oil, and so that peanut oil has a very distinct flavoring, and that's why people just be gobbling that shit up.
Here's the deal. People need to. Peanuts are legumes. Peanuts are not nuts.
They're
They're
beans.
literally beans. They're literally beans, and that's a seed oil. let's put it out there. And that shit is not good for you. It causes inflammation. Look this shit up. This is not medical misinformation. Look this up. The seed oils cause inflammation. And when we say inflammation, people don't understand what we mean. Inflammation is swelling. When you get swelling, you get pain. That pain in your back, that pain in your knee, that pain in your neck, that pain, that arthritic pain, that's inflammation. That's what happens when you consume these different things. When people say inflammation, what they're really saying is pain. Here's a problem when we don't use the right words. When you're saying inflammation, you think, okay, man, my big toe swelled up. What's the big deal? No, pain. That back pain you got, where you can't get up. That neck pain you got. That's inflammation. You know, most of the pain you feel is inflammation. So now you're telling me that I'm eating a diet that's rich in inflammation. that causes inflammation. Yeah, it causes you to age sooner. It causes you to have problems. Now that's why all our old people need help. When back in the day, old people didn't need help till they was 100 and something. So yeah, pay attention. Look, my Aunt Essie, she lived to be 104. She cooked her own food. Went to the same butcher. That's because she didn't start getting on certain medicines until people just started rushing to the doctor all the time. She wasn't unhealthy. That's the biggest issue. Is Roscoe's big on this. He's like, hey, just because you get older doesn't mean you got to get sick. And he's like, I'm fine. And I'm like, whatever. But he's right. If you're active enough, if you have enough muscle mass on your body, you will not get sick. You'll live damn near forever. You'll live over 100. And I remember when I was a kid, everybody used to die of heart attacks or natural causes. Ain't nobody dying of heart attacks no more. They dying of the C word and all this other stuff.
That's right. So look, wrapping it up, you got to eliminate shit from your diet so that you can live a long, healthy life and avoid the poisons that they're pushing on you. That's all I got. We out. Peace.
Yo, holla back.